It started with a freezing night and a choice that would change everything. A single-dad veteran named Jack Reynolds had seen his share of storms, on the battlefield and in life. But nothing tested his heart like that night, when the blizzard hit harder than any forecast warned. The kind of night when even the wind howled like a wounded animal. He was closing up his small repair shop, Reynolds Auto and Cycle, on the edge of a quiet Montana town. The roads were empty, lights flickering under a blanket of falling snow. He wiped his hands on a rag, ready to head home to his 7-year-old daughter, Emily. She was waiting with dinner on the stove, humming some tune she'd learned in school. But as he locked the door, he saw headlights flickering through the whiteout, faint, unsteady. Then the sound came, a sputtering motorcycle engine struggling against the storm. It coughed, wheezed, and died right outside his shop. Jack grabbed his flashlight and stepped into the wind. That's when he saw her. A woman, shivering, leather jacket soaked through, holding something tight against her chest. A baby, no more than 6 months old, bundled in a thin blanket. Her bike was half buried in snow, steam rising from the engine. "Hey!" Jack shouted over the wind. "You're gonna freeze out here. Get inside." She hesitated, fear flashing in her eyes. But when she looked at the baby, she nodded. Inside, the shop was warmer, the air smelling of oil and wood smoke from the old heater. Jack hurried to wrap them in blankets. The woman's lips trembled as she spoke. "Thank you, I didn't think anyone would be open this late." Jack nodded, pouring her a mug of coffee. "You picked the worst night to ride." "I'm Jack." "Sarah," she said softly. "And this little one's Lily." The baby stirred, letting out a faint cry. Jack's heart tightened, he hadn't heard that sound since Emily was born. He looked at Sarah again. Her eyes told a story, fear, exhaustion, and something deeper, like she'd been running from more than the cold. "You got a place to stay?" he asked. Sarah shook her head. "I was headed to Bozeman. Friend said she'd help me start over, but I guess I didn't make it." Jack looked out at the storm. The roads were gone. "You're staying here tonight." No arguing. She opened her mouth, but he raised his hand. "You've got a baby. That's all that matters." He led them into the small cabin behind the shop, his home. Emily peeked from the kitchen doorway, her eyes wide when she saw the baby. "Daddy, who's that?" "This is Sarah and her little one," he said gently. "They're staying with us till the storm passes." Emily grinned. "Can I hold the baby?" Sarah smiled faintly, tears glimmering in her eyes. "Sure, just be gentle." That night, as the storm raged outside, they sat around the fire. Sarah told her story, how she'd left an abusive ex, how she joined a biker group that helped women escape dangerous situations, how she'd been trying to start fresh. Jack listened quietly. He didn't pry. He just nodded, understanding more than words could say. He'd fought his own battles, both in war and after. PTSD, loneliness, the fear of never being enough for his daughter. When Sarah's voice cracked, he simply said, "You did the right thing, getting out. You're safe now." By morning, the storm had buried everything in 3 feet of snow. The roads were shut, the town frozen still. But for the first time in a long time, Jack's home felt alive again, laughter, coffee brewing, the sound of a baby's giggle echoing through the house. Jack and Sarah spent the next few days digging out the roads, fixing the bike, and sharing stories of the lives they'd left behind. Emily adored Lily. She'd wrap her in blankets and sing her to sleep, like a big sister. And something began to change. Not fast, not forced, just quietly. 2 broken souls, slowly healing in the warmth of shared kindness. By the 3rd day, the sun broke through. The roads cleared. Sarah's bike was fixed. She was ready to leave. She stood by the door, holding Lily tight. "I don't know how to thank you, Jack. You saved us." He smiled. "Just promise me something. Stay safe. Don't ride alone next time." She nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks. Emily hugged her legs, refusing to let go. "You'll come back, right?" Sarah smiled. "I will, sweetheart. I promise." Jack watched them disappear down the road, feeling a strange emptiness in his chest. The house felt too quiet, too still. But the next morning, everything changed. Jack was sipping coffee when he heard it, first 1 engine, then 2, then 20. The sound grew louder, like thunder rolling down the valley. He stepped outside, and froze. The road in front of his house was lined, bumper to bumper, with motorcycles. Dozens of them. Then 100. Then more. Chrome shining in the sunlight, engines rumbling in unison. Sarah was at the front, holding Lily, tears streaming down her face. "These are my brothers and sisters," she said, smiling through her tears. "They heard what you did. You helped one of us. And in our world, that means everything." Jack's eyes widened as biker after biker removed their helmets, men and women of all ages, some veterans, some just people who'd found family on the road. They stood in silence, then one man stepped forward and handed Jack an envelope. Inside was a check, enough money to keep his shop open for years. Jack stammered, I can't take this." The man clapped a heavy hand on his shoulder. "You didn't ask for payment when you helped a mother and child in need. That's what makes you one of us." Sarah handed him a small patch, a black one with silver wings and the words Guardian of the Road. Jack swallowed hard. "I'm no hero." Sarah shook her head. "You are. You just forgot what it feels like to be seen as one." Tears welled in his eyes. Emily ran out to his side, waving at the bikers. They roared their engines in salute, 101 of them, their thunder echoing through the valley like a heartbeat of gratitude. And for the first time in years, Jack felt something he thought he'd lost in war: pride, purpose, family. As the riders left, Sarah stayed behind for a moment. "You ever need a place to ride, you've got one," she said softly. "You're not alone anymore." Jack smiled, watching the horizon where the bikes vanished into the sun. He looked down at Emily, who was still waving. "Daddy," she said, grinning. "You made a whole biker army." He laughed. "No, sweetheart, we just made some friends." And as he carried her back inside, the words of that night echoed in his heart. One act of kindness can start an entire revolution of love.